Alright, so nagbabalik tayo sa ating violin tips and tricks. And for today's video, let's talk about playing on the upper half of the bow. What things you should expect, what are the things you need to consider, and ano ba yung mga feeling na dapat mong maramdaman when you're playing on the upper half. As we did on the previous episodes, we talked about playing in the middle part of the bow, the lower part of the bow. Now, yung upper half naman. Okay, so based nga dun sa previous videos, we've talked about that playing in the middle is like the most relaxed, no? Dun yung pinaka-relaxed position when you are playing. Kasi nga, your arm is in a neutral position, you can move your hands pretty well when changing strings, hindi masyadong malaki, hindi masyadong maliit yung movement. And then when we go to the lower part, you need more control, no? Hindi pwedeng relax ka lang doon because you will tend to overdo some things, magiging scratchy if you add so much. But in a sense, controlled in a sense na hindi mo pwedeng pabayaan na lang siya bumagsak, or you could not put as much effort, no? So, going on playing on the upper half, parang ganun din. It's the same with playing on the lower half, but in reverse, no? Kasi at the lower half, we have so much pressure that we have to almost lift the bow up just so that we can alleviate that pressure sometimes kung may kailangan tayong i-play. Now, when we are playing on the upper half, we can't have a lesser pressure than in the middle. So, we have to apply more. So, usually naman kapag nasa upper half tayo ng bow, our hands are tilted towards the tip, no? So, usually, kapag nasa lower half tayo, ganito yung itsura ng kamay natin. And as we go to the upper half of the bow or to the tip of the bow, we tend to incline going to our left, no? So, lahat ng weight na pupunta sa index finger. Now, that is a good position when you are playing here, especially for an up bow stroke, diba? So, usually, when we do an up bow stroke, we start at a higher position of the bow kasi nga kailangan natin yung i-distribute yung bow properly. So, when we're playing on the upper half, we tend to already position our hands. No, naturally position our hands this way, or our fingers. Kasi nga, malayo yung arms natin sa ating body, so it's a normal position to have. And that normal position encourages us to really put in pressure. So, mas maganda yung makukuha nating pressure when our hands are tilted going into the tip of the bow. And so, when we're on the upper half, no, when we say upper half, from here, maybe around here to here. Diyan yung point in which the bow needs a lot of pressure. So, you really need to control that pressure. Ngayon naman, bawal mong bawasan. Kung dito, bawal mong sobrahan. Dito naman, kapag binawasan mo siya ng sobra, what ends up happening is magwi-whistle or magiging airy yung sound. Hindi magiging tense. But that is also parang a good thing to know, no? That you could sound airy and light when you're playing on the upper half easily, no? I mean, you could sound you could produce or create a sound that you want anywhere on the bow, but it's going to be easier to play airy here. Kasi nga, hindi mo na siya kailangang isipin. Magbabawas ka lang. Instead of adding more pressure, you need to release more pressure and just be a little bit relaxed. So this one, no pressure at all. And this one with the pressure that you need. So, yung bow pressure natin, kahit na sobrahan natin yung pressure naman, hindi siya mag-scratch. Almost. Even if I apply that. So, kung gagawin ko siya for the whole bow, diba? Sobrang bigat na dito. So, when you're playing on the upper half, you can't really overdo. No? You can't really make it scratchy. So, safe din siya mag-play doon. And that's why a lot of beginners tend to play from the middle to the upper half, no? Yun nga lang, medyo nakakapagod pag lagi mo siyang ginagawa kasi you're applying so much pressure in order to create that sound na kaya mong kunin dito with a relaxed position. Okay, next thing to note is when you're string crossing. Now, when you're string crossing at a higher position, you need to move more of your arm. So for example, if I'm going from A to E, or from G to D, mas malaki yung movement. Because mas malayo na tayo sa ating fulcrum of some sort, no? So kapag nandito ka na, syempre, if you're changing strings, you have to go farther away. Mas malayo yung kamay mo, mas malaki yung movement. So medyo mas nakakapagod siyang gawin ng mga string crosses. So you still have to find a way to make it better for you. Now, ano naman yung maganda doon kung malalaki yung movement for string crossings? Mas mahirapan ka ngayon na pagsabayin or sumabit yung mga tones mo or yung mga strings mo. Why? Because you need a lot more movement. Kasi kahit ganun ko siya, oh. Hindi ako lumilipat ng string. So you really need to somewhat exaggerate your string changes or your string crosses when you're up here. So it could be a pro, it could be a con, depending on the situation that you are going to use the upper half of the bow. No? So when you are here, you have to really exaggerate. Parang if you are in the lower half, you're moving almost just by the fingers, by the hands lang yung pag nagsistring cross. When you're in the middle, parang mararamdaman mo yung movement to your wrist. But when you're at the upper half, elbow na talaga. Sobrang dikit niya na sa elbow, especially kapag mabibilis. So, yun nga, kapag mabibilis, siguro wag ka dun mag-play. No? You can play lower so that it's easier for you to move. No? Okay, don't get confused naman na kapag sinabing sa baba, hindi gumagalaw yung elbow. Gumagalaw pa din siya, oh, but the angles are a little bit closer together. Versus here, na mas malaki talaga when you're changing. Oh. G, so G, D, A, and then E. Now, pag nandito ako, ito yung G ko, D, A, and E. No? Pag nandito naman, sa middle, G, D, A, and E. So, medyo mas malaki talaga yung movement. But you're still moving your elbows. Pero ngayon nga, mas mararamdaman mo siya here. So, use that to your advantage para alam mo kung saan ka dapat mag-play when you're playing a lot of string crosses. May mga octave movements ka pa dyan. From G to E, for example, saan mo siya dapat dalhin. Anong part ng bow yung gagamitin mo. Okay? So, usually naman sa upper half, we play a lot when we're playing a lot of up bows, no? Up bow strokes na kailangan natin ng sound, no? You can't really play a lot of martellato strokes here kasi you will lack control, no? It would jump uncontrollably kapag masyadong malalaki yung sound. So mahirap siya kontrolin, no? May times na pwede siya mag-overshoot, pwede din siya mag-under. So it's better to play those types of articulations lower. So, ano ba yung mga maganda ipi-play dito? Mga expressive strokes, no? Yung mga kailangan mo talaga ng a whole lot of movements, no? Exaggerated movements. So, dadalhin mo dun sa taas so that hindi rin siya maging super rough. If you want really smooth lines, if you want to do a little bit more connected tones, dito mo siya gagawin. Kasi nga, hindi mo nararamdaman yung scratch or yung bite is very, very minimal on this part of the bow. So, marami kang pwedeng gawin, no? Now, I'm not saying na dapat, may mga piece na puro upper half lang, no? May mga piece na puro middle, mga piece na puro sa lower half lang. But it's actually using all those parts, no? The spectrum of sounds that you can produce. Because, to be honest, you can really play any tone na gusto mo in any part of the bow. It's just that you have to find the easiest part in which you can produce the sound with less effort and a relaxed state. Yan. So yun yung reason bakit natin din-discuss on where you could really find the best position in where you could play the best tones or sounds na gusto mong palabasin sa instrument. Okay. So sana nakatulong tong video na to. If you want to do another other topics related to this video, please do comment down below. Any more questions that would come up, of course, answer natin hopefully in a video. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Sana nakatulong tong video na to. And everything you need, check out links down in the description box below. Again, this is Ryan Monakil for Violin Tips and Tricks, and I'll see you on the next video.